D. Wilson PTA meeting will be held March 23rd at 7 p.m. The second grade Susabration will be held March 27th, 12:30 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. What school is that in?
Evergreen.
Evergreen? Okay, at Evergreen. R.D. Wilson Science Fair will be held March 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. The middle school spring semi-formal will be held March 31st at 7 p.m. Pre-kindergarten and kindergarten registration for the Western Wayne School District will be held the week of March 27th in the R.D. Wilson and Evergreen Elementary Schools. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any correspondence? No? Okay. Are there any questions regarding the superintendent's report? Assistant superintendent's report? Principal's report? Ms. Felisky, are there any programs to report? No? Okay. Do any board member have any other business you care to address at this time?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Due to the recent events with past board and present board, a lot of confusion I feel has taken place, lack of transparency. So at this, I would like to make a motion that any future contracts and all aspects of that contract become the decision of the board and not just the president. Understand?
Are you making a motion?
I'm making a motion for that, yes.
Can you just say it again, so right, sorry.
As it stands right now, after a price is agreed on by the board, then it's up to the secretary, the superintendent, and the president of the board to hammer out the rest of the contract. I would like to make that so that the whole board is responsible for that, not just the president.
Are you asking that all board members see any future contracts?
Yes.
Such as superintendent contracts, assistant
Act-
superintendent contracts,
Act 93
ESP,
contract, anything
including the
that
education
requires a
agreement as
contract,
well.
that becomes a board issue, and not just the president issue, to finish it off.
Gary, I'd like to second that.
So we want to be aware of the full contract
We
before
want to
we
vote
vote
on the
on
full
it.
contract.
The president it's still his duty to execute the contract. We just like to be made aware of it
No, we need to vote on it.
prior to.
I think what Gary's asking is that we want to see it then, we want to
See
see
it, we wanna
what
vote
it
it.
totals before we vote on it. I'll give you an example, and it's a tough one, because the superintendent comes on, we negotiate with him as a board with our administrators, and then we don't know the rest of the contract of all the pieces to the pie that are in there, and we already voted on his contract. So I think what Gary, if that's, I could be wrong, but I'd like to see that too, though. I think we need to see those things for the taxpayers, because we're actually voting to approve that superintendent or whatever it is, and we're not getting all the information that we need to make that decision.
I'd like to dive in more specifically.
Go right ahead.
Instead of seeing bullet points or a spreadsheet,
No.
we want to see the language of which the contract we are binding ourselves to this individual actually states.
And that's what I meant,
We want to see the
language in that,
legalese,
that's all. that-
we
yeah,
want to see
you're
the
right.
numbers, we want to see what a person walks away settlement-wise, severance-wise, retirement-wise, resignation-wise, and everything underneath the sun, which is our job and duty to do as elected school board directors. And the bottom line is, and it's not to call anyone out, but on my time in this board over the last 4 years, I have never seen a superintendent or an assistant superintendent's contract. Just haven't. And it's just honest. So, the bottom line is, this gentleman and these other board members are making a motion and agreeing on the fact that we're asking just to see the contract, to see what we're voting on.
And it's not personal either, it's not personal,
It's not
because
personal, no.
our board presidents do their job, but it's a good point that you made up, because I agree with what you're asking for. And Matt just came on, it's just that what we lived through before with other superintendents, and when we got it, and how we got it. And sometimes we vote on things that we don't have all the information, as you said, the language that we like to have. We make the decisions for the taxpayers, and it's hard sometimes when you make them, and you're not sure, and you're waiting to see that.
Then why did you vote?
Huh?
Why did you vote if you didn't have all the information?
Well, let me say,
Hello?
You have to go back, you have to go back to.
it's not as
Well,
easy as hello and
I
what do you
understand
think and
that,
all
but
that,
if you're not
because you
clear
have
on
to be up
something,
here
you don't
sitting all
vote.
these years to really find out
Right.
what it's all about.
This-
No, I'm just
but-
saying.
And so it's
Let me
not.
explain that a little bit, because I've been delving into the law on school board law. In the past, the school board has had the president settle all that stuff. All we did, he would negotiate all those terms, the president, the superintendent, and the secretary. And then they just brought the facts, they did bring the facts to us. We approved the contract, and they hammered out those negotiations. So now, what I'm proposing is that we change that. Now, the president just doesn't do it, the whole school board does it. So we know what we're voting.
Right. So there's no law that you have to abide by as a board from the
There's-
state?
The way we do it is what I'm changing.
It's a past
They have
practice, the
abided
way
by
it
the
was
law.
done
Oh.
before.
Like, we've done it this way just because we've done it this way.
Oh, gotcha.
That's not rational.
Then no law is broken.
Oh, no, I'm not saying there was, I'm just saying, well, what is
You vote
it?
on something.
And
Yeah.
the board was given copies of the contract, both contracts.
We did, we recently asked for it, and Donnie went to we have a sitting here though, see, he's with us. And we asked him for the contracts, Mr. Olsenberg, and we just received them.
Right.
But what he's saying is we should get all, that whole thing before
Well, right.
we vote.
Yeah, I would never make
In
a
the
vote
past
on something
practice
that I
is you
didn't
got
know.
to vote for the superintendent, and you knew his salary, but you didn't know what else was the language that was in there. And so I'm okay with changing that.
I don't have a problem with
Yeah,
that.
no, I didn't think you would.
Should we,
No.
should we try to get some kind of wording before voting it, because we don't have any wording, it's sort of kind of a nebulous thing?
I agree with
Where
that,
would we
too. That's a
be?
good idea.
If you wanna put it together, we can
Well, I
make
don't
it a
wanna
motion.
put it
No, put it together and we'll make it a formal motion at next month's
Yeah, we
meeting.
could
If,
get some.
if that's all right with
professional
everybody.
advice.
It's clear how to word it. The West Wayne Board of Education requires, before any
All right, yeah,
contract is passed,
okay.
to view, you have to view the contract before any contract is voted upon by the
Any
West Wayne Board
contract
of
for what?
Education.
In other words, does it need to be defined?
Are you writing this down?
The motion has been made and seconded, so we will just go forward with the
If
vote.
you say any contract, what does that mean? A contract to buy milk?
Yeah,
Does
but
it
I
mean-
don't
you know, I
know,
don't-
We vote on any other contract anyway. We approve the
Yeah,
SP, we
contract for
approve
what?
EA, we approve assistant super, we approve the super.
Yeah,
So it's all contracts.
well, but.
Do we not,
we
have
haven't
any other
done that.
contracts that we're
Yeah.
about?
And Billy's point is, we do enter into other contracts, are we just gonna concentrate on the administrative?
If it says
Yeah,
any
employment
contract,
contract, the employee's contracts?
I'm not opposed to the idea, I just think it ought to be worded so that it's specific and we understand what.
So the language is.
Well, I think any contract that's out there that we're gonna move on, whether it's building and grounds or whatever it is, we just.
Any
need to
contract
see it
that's over
straight.
$10.
We see the whole thing and then we make a decision.
Gary, do you want to rescind
Yeah.
that? No, until we get it formalized. I mean,
I think it's right to do the wording.
how you want it, or how everyone wants it.
Because down the line, we might have, controversy over, well, what did we actually mean?
Yeah,
You know,
you
there
gotta
might-
be more
All right,
specific.
then let me change my motion. I make a motion that we work on wording for a new,
Procedure?
Okay.
for next month.
That's fine.
I'll second that.
Well, we better vote on this, since it's official. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Those, any abstaining? Motion carries.
Yeah, I'd just like to recognize and acknowledge our robotics team for their accomplishments at the regional districts. They placed first. You'll notice the banner on your way out if you didn't notice it on the way in. Also, our Pennsylvania Junior Academy of Science participants. We had from the high school 5 first place students, 7 second place, and 2 third place participants from the high school. And at the middle school, we had 2 first place, 3 second place participants. So both groups did a tremendous job. We want to congratulate them publicly and thank them for their hard work, as well as the advisors, and for their success. They make us proud here at Western Maine. Also, one last group, our wrestlers. We had some individuals move on through the district competition and onto the regional. We do have Cole Fuller, moving on to the state level, so we have to also recognize them for their achievements as well.
Very good. All right, under future meetings, we're gonna add a meeting on March 16th at 6 p.m. here in the district boardroom. The board will meet for, we'll hold a special meeting. Yeah, for general purposes. Perhaps at that time we can add the wording for Gary's motion. Okay. On March 27th at 6 p.m., the board committee meeting will be held here in the administration building at 6 p.m. And then on Monday, April 3rd at 7 p.m., the district board meeting public board meeting will be held here in the district boardroom at 7 p.m. Meetings held on February 27th at 6 p.m. The board committee meeting was followed by a 7:15 p.m. executive session for personnel and legal matters here at the district boardroom. May I have a motion for adjournment?
Make motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion carries. We are dismissed.
Oh, yes.